Tonto ibe jola, con kakoronto, sining sama ibe kola, ni ajingi donto, badi ala sabu, tori watu sita, ikaburi na leko habu, badi ya mite maifene atina, badi ya mite maifene atina.
Wow. Okay, control is a big thing in the Gambia, which even the government is borrowing from people. I don't know where they know what borrow money from, but they know what borrow money. And apart from government, the individual too also borrowed money, which in return they don't pay. So, how do you feel? How do you think if you are in the shoes of someone that you borrow and the person doesn't want to pay back, how do you think you're gonna feel?
I would say no one is perfect.
Okay.
People we are how can I say, like you can be more wealthy than then I might need money, like I might be in an urgent situation and I might need money, and I can come to you as a brother for help, and you can borrow me stuff, but I should return it.
Yeah.
I should have the honesty and to return the money which I borrowed because on agreed terms.
So say in Wolof, because I know some people are listening and they want to hear in Wolof too. Do you think no borrow? I don't know how to speak Wolof. Like bahana wala bahal. Wow. To borrow is good, but not paying back. Okay.
To be honest, no borrow is good because definitely take a serious situation. Yeah, and that's all I had is maybe emergency. So I'm so hard so what you want to have that are not okay.
Yeah.
But next
time, exactly. So, but then again, niti. Dan is niti dapat bang pay halis bi wala dapat bang pay materials bobu. If you are in that condition, lu lamber, let me speak Wolof today. I cannot speak Wolof, definitely. Maybe you're gonna be my teacher for that matter. Can you speak Wolof?
Sure, like I'm speaking.
You see, this is a problem. Can you speak it? No. So I think it's not only my problem, but I love to try.
Yeah, trying is good.
Yeah.
Try.
So tell us, do you think it's good or bad if you don't pay back, and what should be done?
Debted or say, it's not good. It's not good because they have betrayed trust.
Definitely.
They have betrayed trust, and I'm gonna go kula level. Figure they get the contract. Ban time la wara fay ak ban base.
Wow.
So you fay lo ko base bobu nono. Mom lu ka ne mu def. Lu ka ne su la ne su ko ne yobu la police su la ne su ko ne
Muskola.
Yeah, so su ko ne yobu la fu de. No yobu su la ne su ko ne yobu la jala.
Any disgrace is yours. We're talking about people who borrowed. Like we see the government borrowing an individual, and we see the individual borrowing from government. Like for example, the farmers now, they will be borrowing from the bank or they will be borrowing from the government or the bank, but paying back will always be a problem. Not only bank, even bank also borrows money from other people. It's life, because we know borrowing is good, to borrow from one another when you don't have, especially when you are in need of that particular material. It could be money, it could be item, it could be anything that you need personally to use, but you promise to pay back and you're not paying back. What is your advice?
Well, I think there's a couple of different levels there. I think to start at the basics, if one human being borrows from another human being, then they should repay it out of faith and trust. Particularly if it's quite a large sum of money, and that could be $3,000 is a lot of money to some people in the Gambia, for instance.
Okay.
And, just for an example. Now, of course they should pay it back because they've taken it in faith and trust, and by using the money, if you like, hopefully they would invest it wisely and be able to pay it back to the individual, because otherwise that individual may have to go and borrow some money from someone else. So there's a sort of domino effect. So I think that faith and trust in one another is very important. There is another level, however, of borrowing, which is on a much larger scale, and that is global. And you're talking about banks borrowing from one another. You know, when you put your money in a bank, the bank goes and
Usually for business, yeah.
Absolutely invested in other things. And I think there is a reality emerging, a very big one, that there is an enormous debt bubble in the entire world at the moment. It's absolutely vast. And this is where I think that the Gambia has a bit of an advantage, if you like, if it uses its head and decides to get itself a little bit more organised. And that is to become a lot more self-sufficient. You mentioned, for instance, farming. And one of the things I've been thinking about and beginning to concentrate on is planting and farming and agriculture and such. And I'll give you an example. We had some eggs delivered the other day to the eco retreat, and they travelled over from the Netherlands. And that's an awful long way for an egg to travel. And the sell-by date on them, it had a shelf life of 5 months, would you believe?
Sure.
So it means in order to get it here, it's taken a lot of fuel, it's taken a lot of carriage in order to get that egg to us in the Gambia. And in order for it to last 5 months, let's face it, it's got to have certain things in there which we might not want to actually eat. Whereas if you focus on your local economy and your local growing, then all of a sudden you can get the same prices in time as the cheaper rates, but you've got a healthier produce that's made within the Gambia. And I think that the Gambia is a hugely fertile country, and it's also not a very big one. So I don't think it's a huge leap of the imagination to really organise it well and become much more self-sufficient, so you don't have to borrow so much. One of the things I know we've touched on before is organic fertilisers, and there's a lot of Gambians now that are using chemical fertilisers, and these are imported, they're very costly, and they are essentially toxic, let's be absolutely frank about it. Whereas growing for free, for practically free in the Gambia, is a whole range of fertilisers that can be used. So not only are you using something that's organic, that's natural, that's healthy, but it's going to cost an absolute fraction. So therefore, the requirement for borrowing money becomes much less if the produce that you're using is essentially coming from the nature. So I think that there is an opportunity for the Gambia to think differently and really focus on becoming much more self-sufficient and using the beautiful natural resources it's got much more efficiently, protecting them. And I think as a result of that, then the actual requirement to borrow money in large scales would actually decrease.
Definitely. So I guess we all have learned from that. Do you have anything to add on that? No. Okay. So listeners out there, what we're gonna do? We're going to short musical break. Definitely we will go into a short musical break and we'll be right back again and again. So stay tuned on the frequency of 99.9 FM. So let's go into short musical break and we'll be right back.